18 holes, one chance. Today, everything is on the line.
Go. Yes!
We're at the Pulpit Club for the final qualifier of the 2025 RBC Canadian Open.
Great job, James.
The top 4 players punch their ticket to one of the biggest stages in golf, the PGA Tour. The field is elite. Tour pros, rising stars, and top amateurs, all chasing the same dream.
Oh my god, that could be really close.
I've put in the work, I've prepared for this moment, and now I'm one round away. Let's make it count.
Wow.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're at the Pulpit Club in Caledon, Ontario, which is just north of Toronto, for the final qualifier for the 2025 RBC Canadian Open. This is an 18-hole, one-day qualifier organized by Golf Canada, with the top 4 finishers advancing to the Canadian Open. I'm out here with Matt, who's filming the event and also doubling as my caddy for the practice round. The field is stacked. It includes professionals and amateurs who advance through regional qualifiers across the country, along with players who currently have status on the PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, and PGA Tour Americas.
Should be pretty good.
The golf course is no joke. It's a par 71 stretching over 7,100 yards with only 2 par 5s and 3 par 3s. It's in fantastic condition, but it's a real test. It's tight off the tee, the rough is brutal, and the greens have a ton of slope. Definitely not the kind of course you want to play blind, so I'm grateful I had the chance to get a practice round in. I'll be walking you through my entire round, shot by shot, sharing my thought process, strategy, and everything in between. Practice rounds in the books, time to grab some food, get some rest, and come back tomorrow ready to get it done.
That's really solid, man.
Alright, it is final qualifier day. Unfortunately, the weather is not great. It is cold and incredibly windy. Today is going to be a really tough test for the entire field. There wasn't any rain forecasted, so Matt decided against bringing an umbrella out of the car to protect the camera in case of some showers. So of course it had to start raining while I was working through my warm-up. After getting a good feel for the speed of the greens, we headed over to the range to continue the warm-up. Though I felt like I was hitting the ball well, it was kind of hard to tell in the wind how far the ball was traveling. My recent injury has not been bothering me as much in the last week or so, but since the injury there are days where I feel like I have slightly reduced mobility in my thoracic spine, and today is one of those days. We're going to have to buck up and do the best we can with what we have today. We are one good round away from playing on the PGA Tour. Let's get it done. I have a new caddy on the bag today. Channel, meet Jake. Jake, meet Channel. Jake is from Hamilton, Ontario, and plays competitive amateur golf. He reached out to me a few weeks ago asking for some advice about competition golf. Unfortunately, we had not had the chance to connect as my schedule has been a bit nuts, but I figured he might enjoy the opportunity to be inside the ropes on a day like this, and he agreed. Thank you, Jake.
Going to 12:50 starting time. First to play from Montreal, Quebec, James Colin Davis.
And here we go. The first hole is a par 4, 478 yards. You can see the green is a little to the right, just over that body of water there, just right of my shoulder. It's a long hole, but it is downhill and playing straight downwind, so I'm only hitting 3 wood because I really only have to hit about a 250-yard shot to get to the left fairway. You can see there's a fairway down the right as well. I am playing it to the left side to take the water out of play. And that was a very poor start. I absolutely drop kicked that 3-wood. I've been struggling recently, a little bit too much chest sway in my backswing, and
Ontario.
that was a poor swing. So we have left ourselves in basically no man's land. We had about 170 yards to the flag, but completely blind, going up over water, downwind. From the lie I had, if I'd hit that shot and it didn't come out with the right spin rate, the wind could knock it out of the air and right into the water. So we're just trying to figure out where is the best place to lay this up to give myself a wedge shot into the green and try to make par that way. So that was a lob wedge, just getting it out of this grass crater that we're in. That was well done. That puts us out into the fairway. We have 85 yards left here. You can see we got a good angle here. You can see on the pin sheet there, the pin is 18 on and 7 from the right, but from our angle we have much more green to work with. Wind is off the right. I'm trying to play this about 80 yards, let it skip up, and then check.
Good.
And that's a fairly well executed
shot,
shot
James.
right there. You can see if I'd gone much past that pin, it could have caught a slope and gone right off the back of the green. So we do have a realistic chance at saving par here. Now this was nice. Jake and I don't know each other, we'd never worked together, but we realized very quickly that we read greens the same way. And that really helped me today. So this putt here, about 8 or 9 feet here, you can see me step off of it because as I started to set up, a massive gust of wind hit me and knocked me a little bit off of balance. So instead of trying to fight through that, just reset, go back through the routine. This is a little bit uphill. It's going a little bit from right to left, and the wind should help push it a little bit.
Go.
Really good effort, just lacked some pace. I expected that to be a bit faster. Had the line right if we'd hit it a little bit harder. That is a bogey. We are 1 over after the first hole. The second hole is a 364-yard par 4. This is again downwind and again downhill. Now, in the practice round, I'd hit driver and almost put it in the greenside bunker. I didn't like your chances of getting up and down from there, though. That was just a 4-iron. I'm just trying to hit this to the right side of the fairway. Did push it a little bit, but that is going to filter down to the middle of the fairway. That's going to give us a good wedge shot in. So from this lie in the fairway, we have 118 yards. You can see that pin is kind of back left, only 5 from the left edge. Now I've got a fade lie and it's downwind. So we're going to start this at the flag, knowing that it's likely going to fade a little bit to the right, which it did, actually a little more than I intended. Strike was pretty good. Distance control was quite good. It didn't quite spin as much as I would have liked going downwind, but we are safely on the green and we have given ourselves a birdie putt. So this approximate 20-footer, which is going back towards the clubhouse, which is at the top of the hill, away from the city of Toronto. Everything kind of breaks down that way. We're expecting this to break a little bit to the right. It should be somewhat speedy, even though it's going back up towards the clubhouse. Definitely quicker than I expected, and honestly just never had that one on line. It wasn't a push, I was just misaligned. That was a pretty poor effort. Those don't go in very often, but you prefer to give it a better chance than that. This putt here to clean up for my par. Good bounce back par. Pretty solid hole, especially after the shaky start on the first hole.
That was good. Good hole. Yep.
You can see in the trees behind us here just how windy it is as Jake and I kind of figure out this shot on the third hole. The third hole is a par 3, playing 172 yards, going back up the hill and straight into the wind. So this is going to play pretty long. Pin is 16 on and 6 from the right. I'm hitting a 6-iron here, trying to flight it down a little bit, playing it like a 190, 195 shot back into the wind here.
Oh my god, that could be really close.
Great swing there. right at
That's
it.
okay. I'll
That
take it
one
on
felt
one
great. So we get up onto the green. This ball finished, let's say, about 12 feet shy of the pin, but that's where we wanted to leave it. This is going to leave us an uphill putt. Now the entire green kind of slopes to the left, but we really weren't sure what this putt was going to do. Now again, this is uphill, it's into the grain, it's going away from Toronto. This is going to be a slow putt, so I know I have to hit this harder than it looks like I should. And as much as I tried to, I just couldn't do it. So, the uphill into the grain putts are super slow. The downhill, down grain ones are insanely fast, and it was just hard for me to adjust. The fourth hole is a tough par 4, 445 yards. Pretty straight away, but uphill, and today back into the wind, so playing significantly longer. I'm hitting driver here. I'm just trying to hit a little bit of a low cut up through the wind here. And pretty good execution, but just overcut it. It's going to land in the fairway, and unfortunately it's going to bounce and roll on a little bit and finish in the right rough. So we've got a blind shot from the right rough here. We do have an angle, we've got a tree in front of us, but we can get around it and have a line to the green, but we're walking up that hill to figure out exactly what our line is. 190 yards left in here. You can see the pin is back right. I've got a 4-iron in hand here, trying to get it through the wind.
Oh, beat money.
Really good for line, but it was sitting up in the rough a little bit. I just caught it a little high on the face. Now we couldn't see it down, but I figured the way I hit it, it wasn't going to make it all the way to the green. It did finish a little bit short right on line with the flag from our angle. Not a bad spot. It's a pretty basic chip here. Expecting this to turn a little bit to the right. And I misread that. That broke a ton to the right. It was great for distance, but because I didn't start it far enough left, we've got much more work here to save par than I would have liked. Now, this is another one of those uphill into the grain putts. Now, we've left a couple of these short already. I want to get this one to the hole. It's breaking from right to left, so I'm starting it just outside of the hole, giving it some pace. And again, unable to hit it hard enough. If that had an extra foot or foot and a half of pace on it, it would have held its line and gone in. So the putter is costing us a little bit early. Now I'm putting myself in positions that would make it tough to make pars, but the putter is just not bailing us out right now. The fifth hole is another par 4, 401 yards. This one goes up to this tier that you see, this plateau of fairway, and then downhill to the green. I'm hitting hybrid here. Just want to leave it up top of the plateau. If not, the wedge shot from the bottom of the hill can be a little bit tricky, especially with today's pin placement. Oh, good swing there. That one felt nice, good for confidence. So we have left ourselves right up top of that hill. Got a downhill approach to this green, a green that's got a lot of slope in it. You'll see more of that in a minute. So we have 118 yards here, slightly downhill to this front left flag. Wind is off the left. I'm hitting a little gap wedge here, trying to control the flight and distance. And again, that chest wave move kills me here. Hit it a little thin. Comes out a little spinny to the right. Kicks off of that slope, and bye-bye. That is going to run all the way off of the back right of the green. That is going to be a fairly tricky up and down from back there. So this is one of the few times in my life where I've been just off the green and actually had to use my rangefinder to figure out how far I was. We have 40 yards here going back uphill into the wind. That's lob wedge. I'm trying to fly it up top and then let it release. It flew it up top, didn't fly it as far as I would have liked, and it just kind of checked really hard, but it did stay up top. So at least we're going to have an easier putt than if that had kind of started rolling back towards us. So this has been a bit of a shaky start. The ball striking hasn't been great, and I've had to lean on my putter a lot this year because of the injury in the ball striking, and the putter hasn't been able to bail us out yet. We have this lengthy par putt here on the fifth hole to avoid going 3 over par through our first 5 holes. Now, this is a tough course. There are not a ton of birdies. We have got to keep bogeys off the card.
Go. Go. Yes!
Great fun.
Man, did we ever need
Come
that.
on.
That was huge. That for momentum in the moment, I cannot explain how important it was that that putt fell. So we've got some momentum going now. Now we need to start making a move up this leaderboard. The 6th hole is another par 4, 415 yards. This one dog legs to the left. There's actually a line where you can take driver left of those trees and get close to, if not on the green. I'm not feeling confident with the driver today. I'm hitting 4-iron down the right with a little bit of a draw. This is still going to leave me a relatively good scoring club in, but it's going to take a big number out of the equation. Good swing there, hit my spot. Leaves us in the middle of the fairway. Couldn't have asked for a much better approach shot in than from here. So we have 165 yards in here, downwind a little off the left. See that pin is way back right. The entire green slopes back there. So this is a 9-iron that I'm trying to hit just over the left side of that bunker guarding the front of the green. And then I'm hoping the green will just kind of take the ball back to the hole. And that was a great swing, hit our spot. You see as the ball comes back into view there, that was a fantastic approach shot. Really well thought out. Jake and I did a great job there of planning for that shot.
That one was very good.
So we've left ourselves about 8 feet here for birdie. Now, this would be massive to get us going in the right direction. This is a bit of right to left. Again, it's uphill into the grain. I have to hit this hard enough.
No.
And I just can't.
Are you
Just
kidding me?
incapable of doing it. I felt like I'd hit that so hard, and it still comes up short. Again, like the putt on 4, a little bit more pace, that holds its line, and it goes in. These putts are just killing us right now. So though it has been a shaky start, there has been some good. Jake and I are just trying to focus and feed off of that at the moment. The 7th hole is a short par 3. Today playing 130 yards to this pin, which is at the front left. It does play a little bit downhill, and we had the wind off the right. You can see this pin only 3 from the left edge. So I'm starting this wedge shot out to the right, letting the wind bring it back in. This thing looked amazing in the air. Lands right next to the hole and never had a chance to stay on the green. Just too windy, not enough spin. No, I really couldn't have hit that any better. You can see me kind of chuckling about that. I'm not sure what more I could have done to keep that ball on the green. So this chip here for a second shot on the par 3. Pretty basic shot, is going back up the hill. Not much break in this. Would love to give this a chance to go in.
Go.
Yeah, nice.
Had it on line, just came up a little bit short.
Chance. Hey, well, we take those. Yeah.
In retrospect, maybe should have been a
I'll
little
just
bit
finish
more
this.
aggressive with that one, but I kind of, I was worried that if I get too aggressive with it, that I might have 5 or 6 feet coming back down the hill, down grain, downwind. Figured a 3 on this hole, you're not losing strokes to the field. It's a solid par. We move on to the par 5, 8th hole.
Really good right now.
So the par 5 8th is not a long hole, 485 yards, but it does go uphill today back into the wind, and you can see there are a ton of bunkers out there and a split fairway. So hitting driver here, and as mentioned, not feeling great with this club right now. That felt like a pretty good swing and good contact, but just pushed it out to the right, praying that it's going to get over that bunker. It does, but falls back into it. That is going to be problematic for our second shot here. We're going to have a pretty tough layup shot out of that bunker. You'll see Jake and I here trying to figure out how much we can bite here and what line we have to take it on. I've got to go well left, and I can only hit pitch and wedge just to make sure that I get it up above the lip. So you can see up above the lip of the bunker there's a cart. That was a rules official. I was trying to hit it out on that line, and then we'd figure out how to attack the hole from there. It was a really good strike, got it up over the lip, but I did push it a little bit, and it didn't quite go as far as we wanted. Now, I thought I'd hit it far enough to get over the next bunker and back into the fairway. It did get over the bunker. It did not kick down the slope and get into the fairway though. So we have got 172 yards into a back right flag out of a pretty terrible lie in the rough here, and the ball well above my feet. Now, I elected to hit 6-iron. I figured it was going to be enough loft to get through that rough. You can see the stance. It's almost like hitting a baseball. I'm just trying to get this up by the green. It comes out of that lie terribly and into that bunker in front of us. This hole, we're making this one tough. Pretty tough. So 92 yards left now. Out of this bunker, into the wind, going to this back right flag. I have to hit sand wedge to make sure that I get it over the lip, which is going to make it really hard to get back to that flag. Definitely pull that one a little bit, get it onto the green, which is really all I could ask for from there. That lip was just too high to take less loft and try to punch something through the wind. Jake and I stalking this very long par putt here, which is going up a massive slope into the grain. Now, we've had some of these shorter putts that have been uphill into the grain. We know how slow they've been. Well, we've got to hit this one pretty hard if we just want to get it up the slope and onto the right tier to have a makeable bogey putt. Hit that great, hit it pretty hard, and though it got up top, it's actually still short of the flag. I've still got some work here if I want to save my bogey and avoid making double on this par 5. So we have about 6 feet left here. This is going downhill, breaking from left to right. Quite a bit of break actually. I had to start this one about a cup left of the hole. I just had to feel the pace on this one. Drop that into the dead center of the hole. That was good for confidence. We needed to see one of those shorter ones go in. And though it felt like I hit a lot of shots, somehow we managed to get out of that hole, making only a bogey. So we're 3 over now, going into the par 4 9th. This is a 400-yard par 4 that doglegs to the left. And this is kind of, the tee shot's a little bit into the wind. The approach shot is going to be more wind out of the right. I'm hitting driver here, trying to take it to that bunker that we see in the distance. That was a good feeling swing right there. Came out just right of my line, but more than acceptable. That is going to be safely in the fairway and pretty far up there. That was a good hit going into the wind there. So this left us 159 yards. You'll see how far back that pin is and how far left it is. This is one that's very tough to be aggressive with. We were punching a 9-iron up there, starting it out to the right, letting the wind bring it back. The wind moved it more than we'd expected, but we can see that the ball stayed up there. That is a pretty good shot from that spot there. It's not going to be on the green, but we are going to have a pretty good look at chipping in for birdie here, as we've left ourselves in a spot where we can be aggressive. Anything right of that flag was just dead. So again here, like on the par 3 7th, chipping a little bit back uphill. Need to start making some birdies. Gotta make a move. Just missed it on the right side. Hit a great shot. It just broke a little bit more than I expected. But that was good. It was aggressive. We gave it a chance to go in without getting overly aggressive and giving ourselves a lot of work for par. 3 over par on the front 9. We have got work to do on the back, but we are not out of this. Oh, quick little wildlife segment this week. Turtles. So turning on to the back 9, the 10th hole is a 413-yard par 4. As you can see, goes massively downhill. It gets very narrow the further up you go. We had wind off the right, so I'm electing to hit 4-iron because I want to kind of get it out of the air as quickly as I can. All you really need to do on this hole is get it past that tree you see in the middle of the fairway. It's a good strike there. A little bit down the right. You can see I was asking for it to draw around a little bit just so that it wouldn't reach that rough down the right. Placed that incredibly well. That is a good start to the back nine. We have 154 yards left in. Pin is on the left side of the green. Wind is off the right. There is a slope that'll take this to the left. So I'm just trying to throw this kind of middle of the green with my pitching wedge and just hit a massive push. Like a massive push. And that almost missed the green right. And there was tons of room out there. That is not a very good shot. That was an opportunity where we had the green light, we could get aggressive, and I just was not able to take advantage of it. And now we have a very difficult 2-putt just to make par. You can see here I am aiming way left because I've basically got to putt this along this top tier, have it hit the fall line as it goes down the slope, and just let gravity take this ball down to the hole. I hit a good putt, but that thing just started turning way earlier than I expected. It did not make it to the fall line. You can see how much pace that was carrying past the hole as it went down that hill. So we've got work left to do here to save par, and we need this. The one good thing is that anytime you have a putt coming back uphill like this, you know it's going to be relatively straight. Generally hit it pretty close to center and pretty firm. It'll go in.
Yes.
That was a great stroke right there. Very confident putting stroke. Good par considering how poor the second shot was. The 11th hole is a 459-yard par 4. You can see this dog legs left around the water. This is downhill and downwind. Now, it was about 340 to reach the bunkers down the right, so I'd elected to not hit driver and just hit 3-wood on that line, knowing that I wouldn't reach them. Now, that was a good swing. Good hit right down my line. You're going to see that this is going to bounce and roll up there reasonably far. That's a good swing. It's not overly aggressive, but hitting driver there was a very aggressive play. It had to be perfect. So we have 180 yards left to this back left pin that's in a bowl. This is downwind still. I'm hitting 9-iron, trying to land it kind of left center of the green and let the slope take it down to the hole. And when this was in the air, it looked great. And that flew almost pin high from 180 yards and goes off the back of the green. You can see my posture there, like, what just happened? How did the 9-iron go that far? So we're off the back. This is going to be downhill but back into the wind, so that's going to slow it down a little bit, but it's still a bit of a touchy shot. Pop it up onto the green, let gravity take it down towards the hole. This was on a great line and just stops up a little bit short. Good chip from over the back of the green though. Much needed. Again, we cannot afford to be making bogeys right now. We need some birdies, but absolutely need to save these pars when we are in these situations. So about 3.5 feet here, breaking from left to right. Good up and down there. That is 2 solid par saves to start this back 9. The 12th hole is a 423-yard par 4. This was going kind of back into the wind and slightly off the right. It's a pretty narrow landing spot. I'm trying to start this just inside the bunkers down the right side and let the wind bring it back in a little bit. Solid swing. Just kind of pulled it a little bit off of my line and it drew on me. That thing goes well left. Ends up in the fescue up above the bunker. Now I'm in play, but this is going to be a pretty tough shot into the green. You can see there, you know, it's not the thickest fescue I've ever seen, but it's thick enough. It's going to be hard to get some club on this. We've got 132 yards left. I'm hitting 9-iron. Now I know that the club face is likely to shut as I go through this fescue, so I'm aiming almost at the right edge of the green here. I got good club on that, but it came out even further left than I could have expected. I wasn't able to get a tracer on this one, but that finishes just left of the trees that we see there. It was good for distance, but it is going to be off the green. And you're going to see we've got a pretty tough lie there. You can see a lot of the ball, but there's a massive kind of tuft of grass right behind the ball. So you're going to see these practice swings here. I'm going to get really steep and just kind of explode through the ball, try and create a lot of speed, and then decelerate. There's definitely some guesswork involved here. But this is where you just got to kind of get creative, feel a shot. See, the club face is wide open. I just want to make sure that I give myself a putt here. All in all, from that lie, that's a pretty good shot. It came out a little bit hotter than I anticipated, but we have given ourselves putt. Now this is a tricky little putt. See Jake and I going through our read here. This is going to be downhill, down grain, downwind, and it's got a pretty good amount of turn here from right to left. So, got to do a good job of reading this, and then most importantly, matching the pace up with the read that you've concluded.
Wow.
I'll let Matt take it from here.
He fights it. He is not giving up. Come on, man. It's huge.
And he's right. We are not giving up. That was a huge par to stay at 3 over. We're not out of this, but we are running out of holes. This is the par 5 13th hole, 512 yards into the wind. Another split fairway. This is driver. And that's the worst swing I'd made all day. Just a low pull draw into the left rough. You're going to see it go finish up behind those trees there. That is not what we needed. The ball is in play, but we cannot be very aggressive from that spot. And you'll see here Jake and I just kind of going through our options. We actually have a pretty decent line. We do have a shot towards the green. It is 217 yards. And really it was either we're getting aggressive and going for the green, or we're chipping out basically straight to the right, which is going to leave us a pretty long third shot in. And I'm talking to Jake here and I'm saying, you know, there's going to be a point in the round where we're just going to have to make a decision. Are we going for this or not? And this really felt like that moment. So we're talking here about hitting hybrid, trying to keep it under the branches, and getting it up on or right of the green. There's a big bailout area, and you'll see us look back. All right, quick little timeout here. You might have noticed that Jake and I kind of turned around a little abruptly there. The reason is that a rules official kind of just like showed up out of nowhere and was talking to Matt and telling him that he didn't have authorization to be there. Now, I mean, we found this pretty strange. We've been filming tournaments for a couple of years now. We've filmed multiple Golf Canada events, including the final qualifier for the RBC Canadian Open at TPC Toronto last year. We've never had an issue. We've never had to ask for authorization before the round. I mean, we'd seen at least half a dozen rules officials already throughout the day, and nobody had said anything to us. So Matt and I tried to explain this to the official, and unfortunately she just wasn't really having it, and even mentioned that she talked to the tournament director before coming to see us, and she'd also said that we didn't have authorization to be there. So Matt asked her to call the tournament director. I mean, at this point, I'm still competing in the golf tournament. I'm not mathematically eliminated. I'm trying to stay in the zone and continue doing what I need to do. So at this moment, I just kind of disconnected from that. Trusted that Matt would figure out the situation, and I had to get back to playing my shot. So Matt had a very lengthy phone conversation with the tournament director in which he pleaded our case, and he did a phenomenal job of just not giving up and giving in to what they were telling us. He did, after several minutes, receive permission from the tournament director to continue filming, though with a few stipulations. One of them being that he had to stay at least 50 feet away from us at all times. And she mentioned that, you know, like, he could interfere with other players. I mean, Matt's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for a while. We have never had anyone that we've played with complain that one, a cameraman was even there or that they were ever in the way. But whatever, that's another story for another day. Anyways, long story short, big thank you to Matt for not giving up and pleading our case and gaining permission to continue filming the event, because this video would have kind of sucked if I'd had to just walk you through these final 6 holes here. And I mean, he managed to do all of that and only missed filming one shot. So I'll just walk you through that one. After the official showed up, Jake and I were looking over this shot. We talked about being aggressive, and we actually kind of decided that we were best to just lay up in front of the water. Okay, no, that's a bold-faced lie. We tried to be aggressive, and in an effort to hit a low hybrid, I delivered so little loft that it actually hit a mound a few yards in front of where the ball was sitting and just kind of bounced up into the air and finished short of the water. So it actually all worked out. It's not the shot I was trying to hit, but it left us in a pretty good spot. Jake and I were talking about it. We don't think we could have laid it up there if we tried to. Anyways, all that being said, back to the video. So after Matt negotiated with the tournament director and we had quote-unquote laid up, we still had 140 yards in here to this pin on the right side of the green. This is a 9-iron going back into the wind. Felt like that should have been plenty of club. Hit it really nicely, wind moving it a little bit left, and I mean, that thing barely covered the front edge. Just way more wind than I'm anticipating on that specific shot. That's left us a lot of work here for birdie. This is another one of those uphill into the grain, going away from the city of Toronto putts, which is going to be very slow. Got a pretty good idea of what the movement is going to do. It's going to be fairly straight, if anything moving a little left early, and then at the end going over a little ridge, turning back to the right, but you have to get it over that ridge before it's going to turn right. And I just never got it far enough over that ridge for it to take the turn to the right, and still not hitting it hard enough. Those uphill into the grain putts have really been my kryptonite today. So we've got about 7 feet here to save our par. This is breaking from left to right quite considerably. Pretty quick putt.
Girl. Oh my god.
And I had the read.
Me.
I intended to hit that harder. Again, just not matching up the line and the pace on some of these putts, and they're just turning more on me and not converting them. That is a very bad bogey at this point in the round. We've actually played the par 5s 2 over par today, and that's more a reflection on my ball striking than anything. On to the 425-yard par 4 14th hole. Now this one doglegs a little bit left. It's a pretty narrow fairway. The fairway slopes from left to right. The wind is off the left, so this is a pretty demanding tee shot here. Hit this one pretty good. Started it down my line. Expecting the wind to bring that back a little bit, and it really just didn't. So you'll see that land in the rough and bounce down the hill a little bit and then just kind of disappear in the rough. Now, I couldn't see that in the moment, but it was literally difficult to find this golf ball in the rough. You see, we're standing right behind the golf ball here. You cannot see the ball. We're trying to figure out how to play this shot here. We have 144 yards in, wind off the left. This is slightly uphill. Pin is back right. We're hitting pitching wedge because we're thinking the ball might jump coming out of this lie. It's going to do one of two things. Either it's going to jump or it's going to come out dead. And it came out dead. Now, luckily, it does get around that bunker, protecting the front of the green. But we've got a lot of work to do here to get up and down, and we need birdies. So we've got to give this chip a chance to go in. We figure we need to get to 1 under. Well, we've got another 4 holes left after this, and we're 4 over par, so it looks like 5 birdies in a row is what we're going to need, barring some kind of miracle. So long chip here back up the green. I decide to use my pitching wedge for a bump and run. Really good contact, on a great line, really good pace, just a little on the high side, but even though it didn't go in. That is great touch from that position. Left myself just a little bit of work here to clean up from my par. Big save nonetheless. Let's keep going. 15 is a 438-yard par 4. This one dog legs to the left, goes downhill to the green. Just kind of back up into the wind off the tee, a little bit off the right. I'm trying to hit my driver a little bit down the right side just so the wind doesn't take it too far to the left. That is one of the better drives I had hit today. Really good contact right down my line, down that right side. That should kick left and kind of bound down the fairway a little bit, give us a good approach shot in. Unfortunately, it did just catch, you can see literally just caught that first cut and stayed there. That gets back into the fairway, it rolls back down the hill. I would have a flat lie, but instead I've got the ball above my feet, I've got the wind off the right, and the pin is on the right side of the green. It is difficult to get this close. I also did miss hit it a little bit off of that awkward lie with the ball well above my feet. You see it does land on the front of the green and then just kind of kicks and spins to the left. So we have a putt, but it is a long putt here. Almost from the front left of the green going to the back right. This is going to be turning from right to left all the way, going uphill, away from the city of Toronto. Again, got to hit this one pretty hard.
Of course. Obviously. Fucking.
We are finally on the board. We're not giving up yet. The 16th hole is a very tricky par 3. Normally plays 230. They had moved us up a box, so it was only playing 190. Back into the wind. I'm hitting a 4-iron here. I'm trying to keep it a little bit low and draw it into this flag. Have to be aggressive. Completely bail out of this swing. Just never got back over the ball. Dumped the club underneath. Left the face open. All things considered, it's dry. It's not a terrible miss. But again, we need birdies. And it is going to be very, very difficult to make a birdie from where I left that. So even though at this point we are essentially mathematically eliminated from getting through the qualifier, I'm going to keep grinding. It's just what we do. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We don't quit on this channel. So this is pitching wedge again. A little kind of bump and run. See, this is going to turn a lot from right to left. A little bit too much pace on that, but it was a pretty good idea. That'll leave me about 8 feet here for par. Now, this is going to be a bit of a tricky putt. This is downhill, down grain, going towards Toronto, downwind. Like anything that could make this putt fast is going to make this putt fast. So very quick, breaking a little bit from left to right.
Wow.
Absolutely center cut. It was a fantastic par, even though we are eliminated from making it through at this point. That is good for confidence. The 17th hole is a 456-yard par 4, dog legs slightly to the left. It's a pretty difficult hole. It's a demanding tee shot, got the wind off the left, demanding approach shot, tough green. Just want to start this off right here with a solid swing with driver. Unfortunately, wasn't able to put a tracer on this one because of the guys standing in front of us. But you'll see the ball come down there. That was one of the better drives I'd hit today. That's going to put us in a good spot here to attack this green. You can see Jake and I here trying to figure out where the wind is because we're so shielded from the trees that you end up feeling a whole bunch of swirls. So we had 153 yards left in here. I elect to hit a soft 8-iron that I'm trying to draw back against the wind to get it close. And again, completely bail out of this. Very similar to the swing I'd made on the previous hole with my 4-iron. That is way right of target. With a mid-iron, that is just pretty poor. But we've got another chance to get up and down. We've been doing a lot of that today. See if we can do it again. Gotta get pretty creative with this one. Got quite a bit of turn on it. Hit my landing spot. Let it take that slope. Let gravity take it down towards the hole. It's another very high quality short game shot right there. The short game has been feeling very, very good recently. We got about 3 feet, 3.5 feet here. Safe par, another up and down. Another good putt. That keeps us at 3 over, going on to the 18th hole. Now 18 is 503 yards. It is normally a par 5, but we were playing it as a par 4. So I'm hitting driver here, just trying to take this down the right side of the fairway. That was not a very good swing, unfortunately. Just had the face wide open. Managed to save it enough that we'll see it come down just in front of that bunker there. It's not going to be in the fairway, but I managed to keep it in play. So we're going to be in the right rough. We're going to have a longer shot than we wanted in. And unfortunately, again, we don't have a great lie. This rough has been very penal today, and I did not do a good enough job of hitting fairways. So we have 198 yards in here. We have a 7-iron in hand. This is a little bit downwind. I'm just trying to punch something out that's going to get through that little entrance to the green left of the flag and run it up there. And it just came out way left coming out of that rough. Now it does get over that bunker. There's almost like a bit of a grass bunker on the other side of it. I don't think the leave is going to be that bad, though obviously it's not what we were looking for. And look at where I'm making these practice swings. You can't see a golf ball. I almost stepped on my golf ball when I was looking for it because I literally just couldn't see it. This lie was absolutely insane. So, like one of our shots earlier on 12, I've just got to get some loft on this and kind of take some speed through it. And man, there was just no getting the ball out of that lie. One of the most horrendous lies I've ever seen. But we've got a better lie this time. Let's do it again. Bit of a simpler shot, more just kind of a chip and run. Good contact, good for pace. Did not see the green taking it that far to the right. So again, we've left ourselves some work here. About 8 feet, going uphill. This one should be pretty straight. Just got to hit it firm enough and get the line right. Great putt to finish. Obviously not the day we were looking for. Really struggled with the ball striking. Struggled with the putter, well, specifically the pace a little bit early. But there are a lot of positives to take out of this experience regardless. Today was just not our day. I know that if I've got a slightly better ball striking day, I can definitely contend to win events like this, qualify to get into the Canadian Open. It just wasn't meant to be this time around. Alright guys, thanks a lot for sticking around and watching the full video. Obviously today's result is pretty disappointing, and it's not really just the fact that we didn't get through. It's more the fact that I just didn't really have a good enough game today to contend to getting through. That's what's disappointing to me, is I just don't feel like I had a chance based on what I brought to the table today. We'll start with positives. Other than a few, somewhat makeable putts early on in the round where I hit my line and just wasn't able to match up the pace, the putter was very solid. It continues to be, I'd say it's got to be probably the strongest part of my game so far this year, which is fantastic because on a day like today, if you're putting well and not hitting the ball great, your score is not going to blow up nearly as much. And the days where you are hitting the ball well, it can allow you to go very low. Now, I know the putter obviously couldn't do enough to save me today, but if you think about a 3 or 4 day tournament, Well, if you have one day where the ball striking is not there, the putter can really help keep you in that tournament. I mean, even with those missed putts early in the rounds where I left myself tap-ins, we made over 160 feet worth of putts today. I mean, that's pretty considerable. That's almost 10 feet per hole on average. The short game display today is possibly one of the best I've ever had. Definitely the best on the channel. I mean, we were 8 out of 10 scrambling around the greens, which is like an absurd number, especially on that golf course. It's really tough to get up and down on those greens. There's just so much slope and so many awkward spots you can leave the ball. And I know in talking to another pro leading up to the event, he mentioned that getting up and down around the greens is going to be the toughest part of the day. So, you know, considering that last year, the worst part of my game was my short game and my putting definitely wasn't very strong, these are good signs. These are very good signs. The ball striking was obviously very underwhelming today, which is quite frustrating because in my previous event, the Spring Open, which you would have seen last week, I actually did hit the ball quite well. So to just not be able to kind of carry that over into this final qualifier is definitely very frustrating. I feel like I've been kind of trending in the right direction. You know, the reality is that since injuring myself in April, most days that I have played, especially in tournaments, I just have to kind of figure out during my warm-up, how can I swing the club today based on my mobility on this given day? Kind of like building a swing for the day, which is obviously not ideal and can be quite difficult. But given the circumstances, we've done a pretty good job of getting some decent results to get this year going. I mean, this got us into the final qualifier in the first place, which obviously wasn't easy to do. So now that I'm not being as bothered by the injury, or actually at all, just some, you know, some tightness that comes up every so often, I'm just a little bit lost when it comes to my swing because I've had, you know, different swing thoughts from day to day, different feels from day to day. But now that I'm actually feeling healthier and getting closer to 100%, and now that this event is done, I'm actually going to have some time to do some work with my coach and kind of get the swing back on track. Now, I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. We're not going to have to reinvent the wheel. There's got to be just like a couple of little fundamental things that are throwing my swing off. I know that generally the swing is still really good, but I know, like, for example, something I mentioned a couple of times today is just like my chest swing and the back swing. That's a result of having limited mobility because of the injury, and just kind of become a bit of a habit, and it makes it very hard for me to be at a consistent impact position and controlling the loft and the low point of the arc, making solid contact and control of the ball flight quite difficult. So I'm looking forward to having the time now to address this and kind of get past this injury once and for all, and start getting the ball striking back. All right, guys, sorry, pardon the interruption. I just realized while editing this that when I filmed the recap, I never gave you guys any kind of context as to what kind of scores got through. So out of the entire field, and a very, very strong field that I mentioned earlier, only 5 players broke par. The low score of the day was at 3 under. There were 2 guys at 2 under, 2 guys at 1 under. The 2 guys at 1 under went into a playoff. Obviously, only one of the 2 made it through. But just to give you an idea, that's what the low scores were. That's how tough the course was playing. Back to the video. So that's going to be a wrap for this video. We came close again this year, and I'm not giving up. I know it's just a matter of time before we get hot at the right time, so that we'll be able to take advantage of one of these qualifiers and finally play on the PGA Tour. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, please like the video, leave me a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. We're growing at a great rate right now. I would love for us to keep up this momentum. Let's get the channel to 5,000 subs. That is our next goal. Thanks to all of you for watching, and as always, I'll be back again next week. with another video. Cheers, guys.